So we talked at the beginning briefly about confidence and negative self-talk. So often people are lacking confidence and thinking they're actually going to get the job in the first place. What tips or advice would you give them to start to begin to change those limiting self-beliefs?
The way your mind works, it works on a thing we call frame of reference. So when you go to a new situation, your mind decides how you emotionally react to that situation. And it does that by looking for past frames of reference. And with situations like public speaking or job interviews, it's not a common thing we do on a regular basis. So your mind looks for the last piece of frame of reference. And for a lot of people, it's that day in school when you was 10 years old, you have to walk to the front of the class and you have to read out the story in front of your classmates. And you got a couple of words wrong, or you said something by mistake, and your teacher tells you off, and all your classmates in front of you laugh at you, and it makes you feel nervous and anxiety. Your mind records that. Then when you go to your first interview after leaving college or university, your mind decides what's the best frame of reference. The public speaking in school's your frame of reference, so you'll feel those same negative emotions. And what we do, we can change that frame of reference by getting a new image to be recorded in your mind, a new emotional way to react. So as an example, James, have you got a time when you maybe feel nervous or anxious?
Well, yeah, that example of getting up in front of the class has suddenly taken me back to being 10 and reading some Shakespeare book in school. But feeling nervous, just what I can remember going to my first job interview and the first proper graduate scheme I applied for and having to give a presentation there, and I wasn't very well prepared, and that's I can remember being nervous then.
So what I'll do, I'll do this technique on you to show people how powerful it is. So when you think about this image or this past memory, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being you're completely nervous, you're really scared, and 1 being you're really confident, you're cool and you're calm. When you think about this past experience, where are you on that scale?
Probably about a 7.
About a 7, quite high. And when you think about this past experience, do you see it like a picture or is it like a movie in your mind's eye?
It is a picture.
Is it like a still picture, like a photograph?
Yep.
Yeah, and is it coloured or black and white?
It's coloured.
And if you could imagine the distance of that picture from your mind, do you see it really far in front of you, or is it like really close to your mind's eye? You feel like you're in that picture.
It's quite close.
Quite close. So this is really common with people who are nervous about public speaking, even stuff like spider phobics actually in job interviews. They have this image in their mind's eye. Normally with most people it's actually a movie. With yours it's a still picture, but they see it really close to them and often it's colour. So what I want you to do, James, think about that image in your mind's eye. I want you to push it in front of you so you can see the corners and the edges of that image or that photograph.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I want you to drain the colour from that picture so it's completely black and white.
Okay.
And I want you to imagine putting like a big old wooden or metal frame around it. So when you go to art galleries, you can see really old pictures from the 1600s. They have these fantastic old frames. So I want you to put that picture in one of those old-fashioned big, thick frames.
Yep, done that.
And on a scale of 1 to 10 at the moment, with 10 being you're completely nervous and anxious, and 1 being you're calm and confident, where are you now?
4.
4, so it's already dropped, and we've not even done the best bit yet. So get that picture and just move it further and further away from your mind's eye, so it becomes the size of a postcard, then further and further away, harder to see, it's going out of image, the size of a stamp. And how do you feel now on a scale of 1 to 10?
Reduced.
And then all the way through
3.
the dot on the horizon, and then just let that picture disappear. And how do you feel now?
Just feel how it's sort of less relevant and less of a memory.
And that technique is so easy that when you sat in your car just before that job interview and you're thinking, oh, what's going to go wrong? How am I going to embarrass myself? You can get that image in your mind, pause it, push it in front of you, drain the colour, put a frame around it, and then just move it further and further away. And we do that with clients and get them to do it quicker and quicker and quicker. So you can reduce your anxiety just in your own mind's eye just before that job interview. So it's a great technique to use just to reduce anxiety.
Excellent. And how would you go to tackle limiting self-talk that you get when you're walking into the interview and you've got the little devil on your shoulder telling you that it's not going to go well and you're not going to get the job?
This is like the second demon really that stops people being confident in job interviews. People either make this picture like we just discussed then, and that movie makes them really anxious, or people have that devil on the shoulder talking to them. So a great technique that I use with that is I get people to turn their voice, which is often their own voice, into a shape. So when I say that to people at first, they go, what? Well, they can easily do it. So if anyone's got negative self-talk about a job situation, about a job interview, about going to have an appraisal with your manager as an example, imagine that voice in your mind, and then turn that voice into a shape. And when you turn that voice into a shape, I want you to notice what shape your voice is. And I want you to give that shape a colour. And then get that shape and move it in your mind from your brain onto your shoulder. And then allow that shape to move down your shoulder towards your elbow. And from your elbow towards your hand. And just watch it go into the palm of your hand. And allow it to drop onto your leg. And then go down your leg. All the way down past your knee. Down your calf. Onto your foot. And then let it just drop onto the floor. And at this stage, most people get an urge to do something to that shape. Some people want to stamp on it. Some people want to kick it away. And then what we do, we get people to do that 5 or 6 times, quicker and quicker and quicker, so they get the voice, turn it into a shape, imagine the shape going all the way down the body until they kick it away. And we do that really quick, like in a click of a finger. And what we find is when we do that repeatedly with someone, we get them to try and recall that negative self-talk, and they just can't recall it.
So with this shape, do you have it as a speaking shape still, or is it just a shape that's not talking to you?
It's most people will have a shape that doesn't talk to them, because what this technique does, it disassociates you. So when you're thinking of a negative picture or a negative future event, or when you're hearing that negative self-talk, you're very associated to the situation you're thinking about. So if you're going, oh, you're going to fail that interview, you're never going to do well, everyone's going to laugh at you, you're really associated to that future event. And when you're associated to something, you feel that emotional pull, which in this case will be anxiety and nerves. By turning that voice into a shape, it disassociates you straight away. And then by moving the voice away, further disassociates you. So you start to feel a different emotional pull.
Well, I've not come across that one before. I'll have to use that. As you mentioned, putting on the floor, yeah, I got the urge to stamp on it. So I'll have to try that one.
And you know, with these techniques as well, like they're so easy to use and so powerful. Now your listeners have heard those 2 techniques. They can literally do that themselves this evening or tomorrow, and they'll feel completely different, because the way your mind works, it can only feel one state at a time. So it can't feel happy and sadness at the same time. It can't feel confident and fear. It's got to feel one or the other. So if you're focusing on something negative, you'll feel negative. If you start focusing on something positive, you'll feel positive. So these first techniques get rid of the negativity, so you can then think about the positivity.